Hey guys, Gray here. Happy New Year, and I hope you all had a really happy Christmas. My apologies for being so absent over Christmas. I had a lot of things that I wanted to get on and do, like I wanted to do a Christmas cover and things like that, and just get in the festive mood a bit, but unfortunately, will you be quiet, dog? You guys haven't seen Nooska for a little while, so why not? Say hello, Nooska. Look at the camera. Ain't you grown big since the last video? Look how white and cute she still is. You wanna go for a walk soon? You wanna get on with the new year soon and get all productive and get all the goals done? Yeah, me too. Don't eat my mic. Say bye, Nooska. Bye. Last year was really good, I gotta say. In spite of everything, like, it was a bit rough in places. You know, the last 6 months of it in particular were just brutal. But on the plus side, I really did work hard on developing a lot of the skills that I need to get on with YouTube, as well as life in general, I think. I really did make a lot of progress with getting my mind right and cutting out things that were just not important, starting to focus on what is, which is, I've got a bunch of goals. This isn't exactly New Year's resolutions. These are things I've wanted to get on with for quite a while, but I've finally taken the time, set some boundaries, and started to prioritize things, which I will get into soon. But I just want to explain my thought process behind my goal setting. My perspective is basically to follow the 80-20 rule, which is you get 80% of your results by putting in 20% of the work. In terms of time efficiency and productivity, that's something to be aware of. So I've got a lot of goals that I've set, because I figure that by keeping my effort with each individual one pretty minimal, you know, like I've cut a lot of things down to 5-minute things I can do every day to just build up towards these long-term goals. So I'm hoping that I can achieve a lot this year with that in mind. Because yeah, I'm not getting any younger. I'll be 32 by the end of January, which I don't consider old by any stretch, but I spend a lot of time, because of my boundary issues and things like that, struggling to get on with my own goals the past 5-6 years or so. And I want to stop fucking about, honestly. I want to get on with things and treat things more seriously. So I really want this video to hold me accountable to the goals I've set so that I actually make some real progress. I want to be able to look back at the end of the year and have made some progress towards these targets that I'm setting here. So without further ado, really? You're being very helpful with my idea of goal setting and getting on with things productively, aren't you? Whatever, I'll work around the dog. The first real big things that I want to achieve is getting on with my YouTube goals. And the first main thing that I want to do with this, it's not quite a goal, but I want to stop treating it like a hobby. I really want to start knuckling down and treating this like a business and, you know, trying to earn a legit income from it at some point in the near future. Not by the end of this year, but I want to build towards that long term so I can justify the time and the energy that we both put into it. Yes, puppy, I know. So my first goal with the social media stuff is I want to do a music reaction on a weekly basis. I want to do a music reaction and get it out every Friday, because I really enjoy those. Those are a fantastic way to engage with people about different singers and different styles and different techniques and things, and I find that really interesting. I'm exposed to new things by doing that, and it's really inspired me to get on with a lot of new goals, actually, which I'll get into once we're done with the social media stuff. We'll talk about that in a minute. The next goal is 4 or 5 gaming videos a week. I want to keep doing that content because it's quick to do, it's fun, and it gives me an excellent chance to develop like my editing skills and thumbnails and things like that. It really allows me to build all those basic skills, which in terms of turning YouTube into a full-time thing, that will go a very long way. Point 3 with the social media stuff, I want to do a vlog weekly, probably on a Wednesday. I'm hoping I'll get this uploaded today. It's been a hectic week already so far. Seriously, like my ring light tried to break, the power supply just shattered. I have no idea why. And then yesterday we had a doctor's appointment. The car hit a pothole and there's 2 tires blown out from it, which was just insane. Everything seems to be conspiring to keep me from working full time, but I'm trying to roll with it, so we'll see how this goes. And I'm not particularly worried what it is, because there's a lot of things that I could do vlogs about. Like I talk about music-related content. It could also be about health-related topics like mewing, tinnitus, and obesity stuff, which I will be starting to get back into discussing, because someone mentioned that when I did my 10,000 subs vlog, celebration vlog, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, that is a subject that I really do want to talk more about, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that with some of the next goals. And I also think it would be good to start doing videos replying to comments, because I love replying to you guys. I love chatting with you in the comments, but it's so time consuming to do with the amount of time and thought I put into replying to people, because when people send me a nice big long comment, I don't want to be a dick and just send quick flippant replies, but the channel is starting to grow to the point where I'm struggling to keep up with everyone. So I think doing it in a video format might be a quicker way of going about that, but we'll see. So next up is I want to start doing more music related content. So I want to do a instrument, you know, be it guitar, drums, bass, keyboard, whatever other instruments I may learn in the future. I want to do one cover a month just to get into the swing of things and start to practice some skills that I need to work on to make that happen. And I also want to do a singing cover a month. So it'll probably be like the second week of the month I will do a guitar cover, and then the third week of the month I'll probably do a singing cover of the track that I've just done all the instrumental parts. I also want to start uploading my own original songs. I think I'll probably start by doing demos and uploading them to YouTube. I've not done a lot of original songs, like recorded and uploaded them publicly, and I don't know why, because I've got tons of songs that I've written over the years. And I think it could be kind of cool as well from the perspective of I could be recording and uploading songs that I wrote half my lifetime ago. Because that's what I love about things like reading, where you get to see snapshots of other people's minds by just reading. Like the last book I read was Twilight, I think, which, trust me, I am not the target demographic for that book, but it was still really fascinating to sit and read it and just see the snapshot of that writer's brain. I love that with art, with creative works, and I think that could be really cool with recording some of my old songs that I wrote, because I've never done it before, and it would be interesting to look back at how my mind was wired at that point in time. It's interesting for me. At any rate, I don't know if it'd be interesting for you guys. Next up is I want to upload 2 shorts daily, which I more or less have been doing. One question I do have on that front though, I don't know if it's just annoying as fuck to set all of those to notify you guys when they're uploaded, because I know not everyone wants to watch them, which is fine. Let me know what you think about that, because I do want to upload 2 a day. If I could do with some feedback, because I'm still finding my way with this stuff. So that'd be appreciated. Cheers. So the next point is I want to start streaming. I love the idea of streaming, and I did dabble at the start of last year. I tried before the year just got on top of me. Was it last year or was it the year before? It was the year before. I'm losing track, honest to God. So I really want to give that a try and start getting into it, because I love how it combines my love of performing, you know, like gigging, music, whatever, with gaming. Those are my 2 main passions. So I'll probably start streaming to Twitch. I will be uploading those videos to YouTube so that you guys can keep up. But it would be really cool to start doing it weekly, ideally 2 times a week, but I want to start slow, I want to start small, again, just 80-20 rule, get the biggest bang for the buck, start streaming weekly till that becomes a habit, and then I can build up from there. The next goal I have is I want to develop my income streams. I don't just want to slap up a Patreon page and expect people to donate or things like that. I think that sucks, honestly. So I'm going to spend some time, and I do have a long list of business type ideas that I want to explore. But on top of my regular upload schedule, I want to think about the value I can offer you guys. I don't know how to put this, but basically I've got a lot of ideas that I need to try to explore and develop for just setting up streams of income so that, again, I can justify putting in more time and more effort and investing more things into my videos that I create. And my last goal in regards to the social media stuff, as far as YouTube is concerned anyway, is I want to achieve 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which personally I think is very achievable. Really, I don't think it's unrealistic to hit 50,000 if I worked really consistently on paper like I'm hoping to. But I want to set a more realistic target just to motivate me to keep up with the daily uploads, keep up with the recording and working on everything, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, 20,000 subscribers would be really cool to achieve. The second area of my life that I want to improve is I want to work on my fitness. People tend to go downhill fairly fast when they hit 40 if they don't have a decent base of health to begin with. Every bad habit you have seems to just build up on you, and I've had some really bad habits. Like I spent most of my 20s just sat on a couch with odd little moments of gigging in between. It's really not good, and especially with wanting to spend more time working on YouTube and things like that, you know, sat in chair, indoors, not being very active, I want to take some deliberate steps to work on my health. So goal number 1, I want to be able to do 15 push-ups with good form. Push-ups are a very basic horizontal pressing motion. It makes sense to get really good at those. I'm going to do that by twice a week training with a 3-day split, which is going to be torso, then arms and shoulders, and then legs. Push-pull leg split seems to be more powerlifting orientated, and I don't really have goals in regards to that. I also want to be able to achieve 10 chin-ups, similar process towards the press-ups. 3-day split, daily grease the groove training at low intensity to just gradually build that skill. I also want to be able to do a front squat, 60 kilograms for 12 reps, which is like kind of in between beginner and intermediate. Doesn't seem like an unrealistic target to me, because I'm 6'1", which is not massively tall, but tall for squatting, back squatting, which is why I'm going more for a front squat, because it just seems to line up with my goals better. And I also want to be able to achieve 12 reps on an 80 kilogram Romanian deadlift, because a regular deadlift is shit as far as the type of goals I've got. If you're not a power lifter, it seems like more or less a waste of time. The Romanian deadlift just lines up better with my goals for building more muscle mass and training the posterior chain. Hopefully I can achieve that with twice a week training. We shall see. I also want to work on my flexibility, because I think it's silly to just get strong and not improve your range of motion. So I have a mobility routine routine to keep my shoulders in good shape. You know, it trains all the external rotators and, you know, hopefully conditions the lower traps to work better and all that kind of thing. You know, it's fascinating stuff to read about and learn about, but for the most part, I want to improve the mobility in my shoulders. The main goal there is to be able to do what's called a shoulder dislocate, which is you take a bar and you rotate your arms behind your back. I can't really do it here, but you do that without any clicking or popping, and hopefully I can build up to doing that with respectable weight, with respectable arm positioning by the end of the year. I also want to learn to do the splits, because I just think it's really cool, and I'd love to have that kind of flexibility in my legs. And again, in terms of guarding against getting less mobile as I get older, I think it makes sense to have some flexibility. And if I could do that while I'm young, odds are good I'll still be pretty flexible when I'm older and not have many issues. I also want to develop my cardiovascular system, because in terms of living life and getting on with things and having energy and all that cool stuff, nothing's better than developing your cardiovascular system, especially with the fact that heart issues run in my family. I'm one of the lucky ones. I don't suffer from that specific genetic issue myself, but I don't think that's an excuse to not develop my lungs and look after my heart health. So I do want to learn to run. I'll be walking twice a day with Nuska, which is about 1.5 miles, and I'll be building up to jogging that walk for one of those. Now, I think learning to jog 1.5 miles is not a particularly high goal to set. That's pathetic in terms of running, I think. But I was sedentary for basically all of my 20s and late teens, so I'm starting from way less than 0 in terms of my general fitness and overall health like that. So I think that's pretty reasonable. Should be more or less daily practice and just build up in baby steps. At the moment, it's basically a minute of jogging, but over time, that should build up nicely at a low, nice, easily recoverable rate with all the strength training I'm doing. Should be cool. My next physical goal is, and this kind of touches on the obesity stuff that I've talked about, I'm addicted to sugar. I use that to cope with every overwhelming feeling I deal with in my entire adult life, honestly. I don't really know how to function when I encounter overwhelming things without sugar to numb me out. So to deal with that, I'm going to be doing 2 daily meditation sessions, one first thing in the morning and one last thing at night before I go to bed, where I just meditate on that issue specifically, on all the things that sugar takes away from my life, because it does affect me negatively. It makes me content and complacent with putting up with shit that I probably shouldn't put up with. And this is just general stuff, you know, just general day-to-day things that you probably overlook. Now, I've never been particularly worried about like my appearance or things like that, but I definitely weigh more than I think is probably ideally healthy. So I do want to lose a bit of weight. I want to get back down to 175, which 25 pounds of weight loss in a year is bugger all, honestly. That's not a crazy amount. I think I summed that up. I want to hit 175 pounds by the end of the year by working on the sugar addiction and just dealing with that issue. I hope that made sense. And last, with all the physical goals, I want to get back into mewing. Improving your oral posture is awesome. Again, it's obviously hard to quantify, and I don't know how specific I should be with setting my targets. I don't know if I should go as far as actually measuring my intermolar width and tracking how that goes to see if I'm making changes. I probably should. That would make sense. But I also don't like encouraging myself to worry about, you know, mewing and my appearance and things like that, because it's just not a thing I'm worried about, honestly. But I do think it's a good thing to have an objective target to work towards, because otherwise it's just, I did some mewing, hooray. Did it actually do anything? Don't know. You know, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set some targets. I want to do a before and after of my teeth at the start of the year and at the end of the year. And I want to see if they actually make any difference, because if I start improving my oral posture and get some genuine structural changes, these gap teeth at the front should start to close up a bit more, which they have been very slowly over the years. So yeah, I'm going to do mewing, 30 minutes of hard mewing every day, probably while I'm walking the dog on the second walk, because that kills time, because otherwise it's a lot of time and energy to put into it. And this is why I haven't done it over the past few years consistently. Getting genuine results for mewing takes a lot of deliberate time and effort. Doing some hard mewing to guarantee that I'm making a bit of progress, combined with gently trying to improve my oral posture over the rest of the day, should work. I'm also going to start chewing hard gum. I've ordered some Phalem gum. I'm going to get into that because it all helps. If I run into jaw joint issues, I will cut back on that, but my basic plan at the moment is to chew an hour a day and build up the amount of pieces of gum that I'm chewing over time. So we'll see how that goes. Next set of goals I've got that I want to work towards, music goals. I want to develop some of my skills. I'm actually feeling really inspired since starting to do all the reaction videos and seeing how amazing some of these musicians are. Like, I don't get it at all when people say, oh, jealous, fuck you. Like, how can you be jealous seeing people that are better than you? It's inspiring to see what people can do. Like, I've gotten really back into singing. I've been practicing consistently for the first time in years, I think, because I've just been relying on doing band practices and just trying to gently improve the efficiency of what I'm doing. I haven't really consistently been practicing. I've started to do it recently, 3 times a week, 30 to 45 minutes, because honestly, right, I'm going to blow this myth out of the water now. If you're a singer and you get told, you've got to do 6 days a week, 2 hours a day, bare minimum, and then God knows how many hours of singing on top, like, it's fucking bollocks. There's a time and place for doing hours and hours of arduous singing practice, and that's when you've got gigs coming and you've got to rehearse to a performance standard. In terms of improving the technical elements, the physical bits of your voice, you don't need much. Again, 80-20 rule. So with singing in particular, I want to develop my whistle voice range because I've never had a reason to bother with that area before. Most classic rock type singers, which is the type of material I tend to like singing, they cap out around a G5 at the highest. No one goes anywhere near high C, let alone the octave up or things like that. Watching some of these amazing singers like Dimash, it's made me recognize it might actually be musically a relevant skill to be able to use that range consistently in a live setting. So I've started working on that, and yeah, with the whistle voice stuff, like 1 or 2 minutes every other day is plenty, and that's been working nice. I also want to improve my instrument skills, my skills on guitar, my skills on drums, my piano playing, and things like that. So to begin with, I'm just working on tightening up a few basic skills on the guitar that I've never had much call to develop either, like really clean alternate picking, like Paul Gilbert style. So I'm going to work on that on my sweep picking, which again, 3 times a week, 20 minutes a time. That's going to work nicely to build those skills. Number 3, and this is one of the main ones, I want to develop my mixing skills. I have dragged my heels so much with doing music type content for the channel, purely because I've never had chance to practice my mixing very much, and I kept putting it off, especially with all the other issues we're getting on with YouTube. It was hard to justify the time, but I'm going to start working on that. And as I already said, I'm going to do a cover, guitar cover and a singing cover and an original song a month. That should be plenty for me to start practicing my editing skills. So that should be really cool. And lastly, I've got a couple of random goals that don't quite fit into any of these categories. It's just general life goal stuff that I want to work on. So first things first, I want to learn to drive. I'm doing nightly revision sessions, just practicing, learning to drive, doing all the theory stuff, doing the hazard perception tests. 15 minutes, 20 tops. That seems to be enough for me to improve nicely. Hopefully I can get that theory part of it done by, say, March or so, then I can focus on getting the practical done. I also want to learn another language. That's point number 2 of my general goals. I want to learn Spanish, because I've got a Spanish best friend / roommate. That's a perfect opportunity for me to start learning it. Once I've got the driving theory done, I'm going to start doing nightly revision sessions for the Spanish, reading it and speaking it. But at the moment, I'm just trying to watch cartoons or anime or things like that. Anything on Netflix that has got Spanish dubbed, basically. Just try and watch an episode or 2 in my spare time so that I make some very gentle progress with that goal. Again, 20-80 rule. Do things that nudge you in the direction of those goals. Another goal, and this is a random one, this kind of ties into all the fitnessy stuff, but I want to have a skill. Something that I can work towards that is good for my cardiovascular system, for my health, and for my general strength levels and things like that. And I think it would be really cool to learn some dancing, because for one thing, I just find it absolutely fascinating that to be able to express yourself physically like that in the same kind of creative way that I can do with an instrument or with my voice. I can't do it at all with my body, and it would work really nicely to develop things that regular strength training probably doesn't. Because when you go to the gym or things like that, you tend to do straight movements, just like, horizontal press or vertical pull, pull-ups. These are very straight motions. They don't really work the other planes very much. Like, you never really do a twisting motion in the gym. So you get lots of people that can deadlift like 600 pounds, and yet picking up a bag of groceries, a light one at the wrong angle, takes their back out. So I think something like dancing would be really cool to fill in some of those little gaps, if you will. And it'll also give me a fun way to be more active, which should help counter sitting in a chair doing YouTube videos too much. If any of you guys do any kind of dancing and you can recommend ways for a complete beginner with no coordination whatsoever to start doing so, let me know. And the last goal I've got is that I want to start growing my own food. The quality of food you tend to buy cheap at a shop is terrible. It's just awful. It's completely devoid of a lot of nutrients and a lot of life. And I think it makes sense, especially with the cost of things going up so much. So I really want to start building those kinds of skills where I can grow my own food and nourish myself better. If it's just a tray of potatoes or something like that, that would be me done for the year with that goal. I just want to start nudging in the direction of learning that kind of skill. I think that's it. That's all those main areas that I want to improve. And I do have other goals, things I'm not talking about, but that's a ton of stuff as it is. So with my perspective on that 80-20 rule and just doing like 5-minute things, you know, every day. Like, for example, I didn't mention it, I want to learn to play guitar left-handed because I already know how to play and I know how to learn how to play. 5 minutes a day is tons. That's plenty to make progress. And I'm applying that philosophy to all of these goals. I'm doing the bare minimum to just eke out daily progress. And we'll see how it goes. Feel free to check the comments below. I think I've got this all written up in a format that might be vaguely understandable. And let me know what your goals are, because I'm fascinated to hear about other people's. I really, really love hearing other people's process to getting on with life and how you all think and feel about this kind of stuff. So happy New Year, guys. Hope you all had a great Christmas. I hope you hit all of your New Year's resolutions with no trouble. It's nice to talk to you again, and I'll speak to you in the next video very soon. Take care till then. Bye.